Welcome. My name is Diana Loderhose, International Features Editor here at Deadline. We're in the Red Sea studio here in Jeddah with Karan Johar. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You are such a huge figure in Indian cinema. And I wanted to say that it's been 20 years. You've just celebrated a kind of 20-year mark of a very
25th years.
20 years since
Oh, to a film. To Kalhona.
film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I was talking because that was such an integral
Yeah, yeah.
call.
Kalhona Ho.
Thank you.
It actually translates into there may not be tomorrow. So live in the moment,
And there's
basically.
been many tomorrows with
There
these
have
films,
been.
it
Yes,
seems.
yes.
Tell us a little bit, because this was one of your very first projects as a writer.
No, I had written the first two films that I directed,
Yeah.
but this was actually the first film that I had produced and not directed.
Gotcha.
But I had written it.
Yes.
I had written the story and screenplay, and we kind of were mentoring young directors within the studio at that time. So this was in many ways a very special film because Nikhil Advani, the director of the film, was being mentored by us, and this was his first film. I had written the film. It was also emotionally for us. It's important because it was my father's last film. He was producer on the studio, and he passed away right after this, which is the irony of the title that they may never be here tomorrow. So when we completed 20 years, in many ways it felt special. Just the journey, the nostalgia attached, and the title track of the film, and I beseech everyone who's watching this to go onto Apple Music and look for it, or any musical streaming platform. It's really a special melody, and it's cathartic, and it kind of gives you hope, and yet makes you feel like all kinds of emotions. So that was a special film.
And it has such an incredible cast, many
Yes.
of whom you're still very close with now.
Yes.
We were talking earlier off camera about your relationship with Shah Rukh Khan. You have a
Yes.
very deep, special relationship with him. You've worked so many times together. Can you speak on that a little
Well, I
bit?
began my career with him when I was in AD on the film. It was called Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, which is considered like one of the most legendary love stories in Indian cinema. I was in the film in the capacity of an assistant director, but that was my learning ground. I'd never been to film school. I had never been anywhere. It was just that film that taught me. And the director of that film is my best friend, who also runs a studio called Yash Raj Films, Aditya Chopra, and he taught me everything I know. And he actually convinced me to be a filmmaker. I was very reluctant. I thought I'd do something else. I just wasn't sure if I was up for it. And Shah Rukh was on that film, and he and I became really close friends at that time. And he, on one very cold day in Switzerland, we were filming, and he said, "You know what? You should direct your movie right after this." And I was like, "I don't think I'm ready." He says, "I think you're ready. I've been with you on set." And I was like, maybe he's just missing home and it's too cold and he's just saying these, really nice things to me early in the morning. And I was like, he'll forget. But he didn't. He called my dad as soon as he landed and he said, "My next film with you will be directed by your son." And he called me and he said, October 1997, we start. And he stuck to that date. And
Right.
he was on set. My first film was called Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. And from then on, he and I built a very strong friendship that went on to becoming family. But also, we built a very strong actor-director connect. We did various movies together, six of them. And it was just like each one was thankfully a success, a massive success.
Well, you got 13 years, though, since you've done a project together. Is
Yeah.
there anything on the horizon? I'm sure you've been asked this many times.
Well, Shah Rukh
but-
has had the best year. This year, he's given two blockbuster movies, and he's on his way to giving his next, which is now releasing Christmas in December, which is called Donkey. I
Which
can't.
was shot here in Saudi Arabia.
It was shot
shot-
here. It
yeah,
was shot
okay,
here. We believe it's going to end the year with a bang. So this is possibly going to be one of his most defining years, and I'm just thrilled for him.
You are in town for a film called Kill,
Yes,
which also played in Toronto fantastically well.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about this. It's quite an unusual film to come out
It
of
is.
India.
It is two things. It's the most unusual film to come out of India, but also the most unusual film for me to have
Yeah.
produced. So I produced this with the recently Academy Award winner Guneet Manga. She won for a documentary short called Elephant Whisperers, which is available on Netflix. wonderful film. We're so proud of her and her achievements. And she and I came together, and when she, proposed this project, I was like looking at her and I was like, in my directorial career, the only bit of action I've had is a tight slap. Which I've shown cinematically, and I'm like, this one is blood porn. It's like it's relentless, it's non-stop. It's if Train to Busan and Raid, the Korean film Raid, had a baby, this would be that baby. And this
Sounds
baby is
great.
and this baby is relentless. It's lots of blood, but it is also underlying it, there is a lot of emotionality as well as there is a reason for what is going on. It's not just blood porn for no reason. It's not just bloody and violent for no reason. There's a solid motivation to all of it, and it's shot cinematically. And we've had a Korean crew that flew in, and stayed with us during the pandemic. It was very difficult. We put up the train. We had a huge set, and then we had this team, Mr. O from Korea, and his entire action team came in. And it was tough because we had to stop, start. And we had a debutant, leading man. It was his first feature film. So we fought many obstacles. And then it was a big decision for us to go to Toronto because we were opening up the film to the world. Knowing very well that in case things went wrong, it would be very difficult for us to kind of then, forge forward with it everywhere else. Touch wood, and with the universe's blessings, it was met with a thundering response at TIFF. Lionsgate picked it up for UK and USA, and we're on the verge of closing the worldwide sales as we speak. We were very honored and privileged to be invited to the Red Sea Festival in Jeddah. It's my first time here. This is such a warm, wonderful festival. It makes me think that I brought this bloody film to this warm festival. I said, maybe next time around I'm invited, we'll bring a more warm and fuzzy feeling film. But we're just proud to be here with our film. It really means a lot that we were invited.
But these kind of films also are very international.
Yes.
Despite being quite gory and bloody, violence doesn't really have a nationality, as you said earlier. Something
Right,
to the
and then
effect
there's
of.
no language to it, right?
Yeah.
There are of course subtitles that you may have to go through, but if you pretty much see the story without the subtitles, you're still going to follow the narrative. So it can be dubbed into any language. I feel it'll connect.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about another film that you worked on this summer with Ranveer Singh,
Yes.
who we had in the studio a few days ago here. It was
Oh
very
dear,
animated.
you had a ball of energy
We
visit you,
sure
basically.
did.
Yes,
We
yes.
sure
Yeah.
did. Tell us a little bit about that project.
It was my seventh directorial film, and I came after 7 years. So it was like very daunting for me because you feel like, are you still relevant? Do you still have it? Do you still have that mojo as a filmmaker? There were many apprehensions, and this film was like a large-scale family drama, with dramedy, family drama. You could genre it any which way you like. Ranveer played a pivotal part. Alia Bhatt, who's also visiting the festival, is the leading actor in the film along with Ranveer. Also an ensemble of great actors. It was called Rocky or Rani Ki Prem Kahani, which translates as Rocky and Rani's love story. And those are the two character names, Rocky and Rani. They come from two totally different worlds, totally different like people. One is a flamboyant, he has his heart and his Gucci on his sleeve, and she is a full feminist, and he doesn't know better. She knows she's woke, she's a feminist, and she believes that she's a member of the media and she has opinions. He, on the other hand, is privileged, doesn't know better, will say the wrong thing without realizing that he could be offensive, but he actually has such an emotional core that you buy into all his madness. And it's the coming together of two diametrically different people. And it just goes to show that, love transcends, love travels, love breaks barriers, love can, shatter myths. And this is that story.
It must be quite difficult because in Hollywood it's very different. You don't typically have as heads of studios directing
Yes,
projects.
yes.
And how does that sort of work in terms of juggling all these different hats? You also have a talk show.
Yes.
You're on it seems like a lot.
Yes. I don't know why, but it is. Someone asked me whether I've AI generated someone else who's walking around doing some other things. Like, because I'm a talk show host, I have I have a show which is in its 8th season right now called Coffee with Karan, which is on air as we speak. I've also been the celebrity judge on reality shows. I produce films, I direct films, I've written films. Uh, I just like for me, I think uh, being multifaceted is something that I live for. Like I don't like holidays. I don't like weekends. I just don't like time off.
I wish I was like that. So let me tell you, Indian cinema at the moment on an international scale, I mean, on a global scale, feels like it's really having a moment outside of its own country.
Yes.
You know, last year, of course, we had RRR win Best Oscar for Original Song. You've had Kill kind of do incredibly well at an international film festival and sell on the kind of pre-sales market. Tell us a little bit about what you think, where Indian cinema is at the moment, and why you think it's expanding across its home shores.
So what I think is not where it is; it's where the perception was.
Okay.
The perception of Indian cinema was that, oh, it's song and dance. It's like, it doesn't, kind of deal with subgenres and genres and doesn't tell many stories. We have a very active, mainstream, alternate, all kinds of movies being made, all kinds of stories being told very credibly, told that the world should see and must see. So it's taken a few years, or rather decades, to kind of break through, internationally, and break that perception and myth. And it has happened. Lagan, 25 years ago, no, well, 23 years ago, was nominated. It was in 2001. It was nominated for the Academy Awards as Best Foreign Language Film, and a lot didn't happen after that. And then thanks to like filmmakers who are like independent filmmakers like Guneet Monga, who actually have taken films internationally, one for documentaries, that now people are looking at it. I mean, RRR is a mainstream explosion. And I think the fact that it was on a global streaming service like Netflix, I think really helped. And also, I think the brand value really helped us because it's RRR. It's easy, right? You just type three of the same alphabet and you're banging. I think it took the media to discover it, and then they spread the word, and then boom, it was like all over. So I just hope and pray that movement continues, that people actually search for our cinema and watch it. Not just Hindi cinema, but Indian cinema. We have so many languages. We have Malayalam cinema and Kannada cinema right now, and Telugu and Tamil and Marathi and Punjabi and Hindi and Bengali, and so many languages. I'm just giving you a few of our languages that have broken through and made some spectacular films. And I'm just feeling the moment right now should be captured. It's little things, it's tiny things. The breakthrough of RRR, what you said is happening with Kill. These are tiny, like breakthrough moments, and I hope this continues because we all want world viewership. I mean, who doesn't want more eyeballs for our films? Right now, in India, the good crossover is happening between the South and North. Finally, many years later, the North is accepting content from the South of India. So that was the first crossover that had to happen, and fortunately, that landed really well. Now RRR crossed over, to the West, and so I think we're heading towards a golden period for just cinema in general. Even there was this entire wave of thought that the digital revolution, the streaming revolution, is going to cause many a dent in the theatrical world. But the magic of the big screen is not going anywhere. And, when you saw the Barbenheimer weekend, and you continue to see the love that cinema lovers and cinephiles have for the large screen, you know that both will coexist. Both will exist as verticals of entertainment. And one may eat into the other only in terms of talent pool. But I think when it comes to viewership, we're here to stay, and so are other streaming services.
Great. Thank you so much for being here today.
No, my
It was such a
absolute
pleasure
pleasure.
to meet
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.